You know that little box in your house, your Wi-Fi router? We use it every single day. But have you ever really stopped to think about what physically happens to your data the moment it leaves that thing? Well, today we're going to do just that. We're going to follow that signal on its invisible journey from your home all the way out onto the global internet.
I mean, think about it. You hit send on an email, you start streaming a movie. It feels almost like magic, right? But it's not. It's this really fascinating physical journey that your data takes, and that journey begins right outside your front door.
So, here's the game plan for today. We're going to follow your data on a quick trip through 4 key stages. We'll start in your living room, then head out to a box on your street, then to a big building in your city, and finally, out to the rest of the world. It's actually a lot simpler than you might think.
Okay, first stop on our journey. Your router at home? It's great, but it can't just talk directly to the entire internet. Nope. It needs to connect to something way, way more powerful on your internet provider's end. You could think of these as the master routers that are just sitting there waiting to receive your signal. Yeah, think of these big machines as like universal translators. It seriously doesn't matter if your internet comes through an old phone line, a TV cable, or a super fancy fiber optic strand. These things take whatever signal you're sending and turn it into the language of the internet, which is just digital traffic that can travel across the globe.
And how that translation happens, well, it really depends on the kind of internet you have. There are basically 3 main paths, and each one connects to a different kind of master router. If you've got DSL, it's talking to a device called a DSL-AM. Cable, that's a CMTS. And for that crazy fast fiber, it's an OLT or a switch. So let's break down what those weird acronyms actually mean. Okay, first up, the DSLM. That stands for, well, it's a mouthful. Digital Subscriber Line Access Multiplexer. The important thing is, if your internet still comes through a traditional phone line, this is the guy it's talking to. It's a pretty clever piece of tech that takes all the copper wires from hundreds of homes and expertly splits the high-frequency internet data from the lower-frequency voice calls. All right, next up is the CMTS, the Cable Modem Termination System. This thing is the absolute heart of a cable internet setup. It's a total powerhouse that's managing all the different radio frequencies being blasted down the same TV cable, making sure your movie stream doesn't mess with your neighbor's online game. And last, but definitely not least, we have the modern speed demon, the OLT, or Optical Line Terminal. This is the master device for fiber. And here's something really cool. If you live in an apartment with fiber to the building, there's a good chance this powerful piece of tech is tucked away somewhere right in your own basement.
Okay, so we know what these things are, but where? Where do they actually live? Let's get to the next stage of the journey, because the answer might actually surprise you.
Believe it or not, this incredibly important tech is basically hiding in plain sight. Seriously, once you know what to look for, I promise you're going to start seeing these things everywhere.
And this is what you're looking for. You've seen them, right? That humble street cabinet. Usually it's just some nondescript green or gray metal box sitting on the sidewalk. But inside that boring box, that's where the magic happens. It's housing that sophisticated hardware, like a D-SLAM, that's serving your whole block. Its entire job is to be the neighborhood's local connection point.
But that brings up a pretty obvious question, right? Why on earth would you put thousands of dollars of super sensitive, vital electronic gear inside a metal box on a public street? I mean, it seems a little risky. Well, the answer comes down to one word: physics. You see, especially with older tech like DSL that uses those copper phone wires, the signal gets weaker and weaker the farther it has to travel. We're talking a serious drop in speed for every 1,000 feet of cable. So by putting the equipment right there in a cabinet close to you, the internet company slashes that distance, and that directly translates to a faster, way more stable connection for you. Okay, so from that little box on your street, all of our data needs to get bundled together and sent on the next leg of its trip. So let's follow it to the next stop, the local exchange. You might also hear it called the central office. I guarantee you've driven past one of these buildings and never given it a second thought. They're usually these big, kind of fortress-like buildings, often with very few windows. This is the nerve center. Every fiber optic cable from every street cabinet in your area leads right here. This is the building that connects your entire neighborhood to the rest of the world. Here's a good way to think about it. If the street cabinet is like a local bus stop, then this local exchange, this is Grand Central Station for your whole city's data. It's this massive hub where traffic from thousands, maybe tens of thousands of users all comes flooding in.
It gets sorted by these incredibly powerful core routers and then gets shot out onto the right track to its final destination.
All right, so we've looked at all the individual pieces of the puzzle. Now, let's put it all together. Let's trace that full path from start to finish, but this time using the proper tech terms we've just learned.
So here it is, the whole shebang. Your data leaves your router, it travels to what we call an access node. That's our box on the street with the DSLM, CMTS, or OLT inside. From there, it zips through fiber optic cables to the local exchange and its monster core routers. And then, from that building, bam, it hits the superhighways of the global internet. And that brings us to a really cool final thought. Now that you know the physical path, you can actually trace the digital one yourself. There's a simple little command you can run on your computer. It's called traceroute, and it will literally show you every single server hop your data takes to get where it's going. So the real question is, how many digital hops away is your Grand Central Station? Now you actually know how to find out.